The ocean is such a wild and fascinating place. It can be scary with all the unknown creatures lurking beneath the surface, but at the same time, it's full of surprises. Have you ever heard of a deer getting caught in the middle of the sea, or a camel taking a dip? Sounds perplexing, right? Well, here are 20 shocking moments caught in the middle of the ocean. Number 20, deer caught in the ocean. A bunch of lobstermen in Maine were out hauling their catch when they stumbled upon something they never expected to see in the middle of the ocean. A deer. Yes, a deer was out there in the water, and they couldn't believe their eyes when they saw what was happening 6 miles offshore. The deer was looking absolutely exhausted while struggling to swim. Now, we're not marine biologists, but we're pretty sure that's not where deer are supposed to be. You have to hand it to the deer, though. It was determined to keep swimming despite the fact that it was way out of its element. Mark Laddie, a spokesperson for the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, said that it's fairly unique to see a deer swimming in the open ocean. No kidding, Mark. We're just surprised it wasn't wearing a life vest. The lobstermen were worried the deer wouldn't make it back to shore, so they decided to give it a helping hand. They tried to corral it with some rope, but it was no use. So they went all in and hauled it aboard by its antlers. They eventually managed to get the deer back to land, but it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. The deer wanted to keep struggling and ended up swimming towards a big rock instead of the nice little beach they had in mind. Typical rebellious deer, always doing its own thing. Number 19, swimming camels. Well, what do we have here? Camels in the sea? Did they finally realize they don't have to live in a desert? In a viral video that's breaking the internet, 3 camels were caught swimming in the Arabian Sea near Jalan Bani Bu Ali in Oman like they were born to do it. And get this, they were swimming to increase their fitness for a camel race. That's right, these camels are training to be the fastest swimmers in the desert. Hamid Al-Junaibi, one of the guys in the video, said that they trucked the camels to the beach for a little aquatic exercise. And guess what? The camels didn't even need those floaties that all the tourists wear. According to Saleh Al-Jafari, a local from the Al-Ashkara town in South Al-Sharqiya, camels often cross the sea themselves to move from one area to another, sometimes even swimming up to 10 kilometers from Masira Island to Shana. It's like they have their own underwater highway system. Usually, when they're not busy wandering around the desert, they're out foraging for food or looking to mate. It's like a whole new world of camel behavior that we never even knew existed. Number 18, Tiki House found the ocean. Tucked away in the crystal-clear waters near Key West, Florida, are 2 floating bungalows that are the stuff of vacation legends. First is the original Tiki Suite, a thatched cabana that's been bobbing in the waves since 2019. With its hardwood floors, king-sized bed, and not 1, not 2, but 3 French doors that open up to the ocean, it's the perfect spot to catch a glimpse of some amazing marine life. And let's be real, who doesn't want to see a manatee or a conch while they're sipping on a pina colada? But if you're looking for a little more luxury, the Grand Tiki is surely the way to go. With its 50-inch LED TV and Blu-ray player, because apparently watching Netflix in the middle of the ocean is now a thing, mini fridge and underwater lighting, you'll feel like a king or queen of the high seas. Of course, getting to these floating paradises isn't as simple as paddling over on a giant swan floaty. Nope, you'll need to hire a water taxi to take you out there. And while the suites are only a stone's throw away from shore, the military has claims on the nearest beach, so you'll have to bring everything you need with you. The Coast Guard says only 2 guests can be on board at one time, so while soaking up the life of luxury, leave your entourage at home. Number 17, whale swallows a kayaker. In a scene straight out of Moby Dick, 2 kayakers in California had a close encounter with a humpback whale that almost swallowed them whole. Liz Cottrell and Julie McSorley were out whale watching when the ocean turned into a feeding frenzy, and the hungry whale decided to make them its next meal. As if ripped straight from the pages of a horror novel, the women found themselves in the water after their kayak was overturned by the massive mammal. McSorley, who captured the entire ordeal on her phone, said that at one point, she even thought the whale was going to land on top of her. But it wasn't just the women who were traumatized by the incident. Other kayakers and paddleboarders who witnessed the event were also shaken up. And who can blame them? It's not every day that you see someone almost become the main course for a humpback whale. Luckily, the kayakers made it to shore unharmed, but not without losing McSorley's car keys. So if you're thinking about going kayaking anytime soon, be sure to keep an eye out for any large bodies of water and stay away from any giant, hungry creatures lurking beneath the surface. Number 16. Russian Spy Whale. What do you get when you cross a beluga whale with a Russian spy? Valdemir, of course. This mysterious mammal made headlines in 2019 when he was spotted off the coast of Norway wearing a harness with the words "Equipment St. Petersburg" on it. Could it be any more obvious? The Norwegian authorities suspect that Valdemir was part of a Russian research program, and who can blame them? After all, Russia has a history of using marine mammals for military purposes. We wouldn't be surprised if Valdemir was trained to infiltrate enemy waters and gather intel. But now, activists are worried about Valdemir's future welfare. A campaign group led by an American filmmaker wants to create a sanctuary for the poor whale, who seems to have a special bond with humans despite his traumatic past. Since being rescued by a fisherman and taken in by a fish farm, Valdemir has been struggling to find his place in the world. He roams free, occasionally seeking human contact, but it's clear that he's not where he belongs. Watching him play with tourists is both heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. It's a tale that's captured the attention of the world and left us all wondering, what's next for Valdemir? Number 15. Unidentified Sea Creature. A Norwegian fisherman recently had the catch of his life when he reeled in a creature that looks like it came straight from a sci-fi flick. Oscar Lundahl, 19, was reportedly fishing for blue halibut off the coast of the island of Andoya when he hooked this mysterious bulbous-eyed creature. The poor thing didn't survive the extreme pressure change and ended up as dinner for Lundahl. Now, we don't want to jump to conclusions, but could this be the elusive Loch Ness monster finally making its debut appearance in Norway? Or maybe it's an extraterrestrial creature that got lost on its way back to Mars. Either way, this ratfish seems to be a distant cousin of sharks and is said to have been swimming in the depths of the sea for 300 million years. Lundahl claims that the ratfish tasted really tasty, like a tastier version of cod. Who knew something that looks like it belongs in Area 51 could be so delicious? All jokes aside, it's interesting to see what kind of creatures are lurking in the depths of the ocean. Maybe we'll discover more unknown sea monsters in the future, or maybe it's just a matter of time until they discover us. All we can do is hope they come in peace, or that they taste good with some lemon and butter. Number 14. Huge marlin jumps into boat. The crew of the Little Audrey off the coast of Australia faced a fishtail to end all fishtails when a massive marlin, weighing in at a whopping 600 pounds, decided to take a leap of faith and jump right into their boat. And the whole insane spectacle was captured on camera for your viewing pleasure. The video starts with the crew furiously reeling in the massive marlin, with one guy manning the rod, another working the line, and a third filming the whole shebang on a GoPro. As the fish fights back with all its might, the captain backs the boat down, causing the deck to flood with water. But things take a hilarious turn when the fish decides to go for a little boat ride. That's right, the marlin jumps right onto the deck, sending equipment and anglers flying in all directions. But these seasoned fishermen don't give up easily. The man in the chair holds onto the rod for dear life, while the other two try to wrangle the fish back into the water. And the marlin? Well, it's not going down without a fight. It jumps around on the deck like a fish out of water, because it is one. Eventually, the men get their act together and manage to get the fish back into the water where it belongs. But not before they have the catch of a lifetime, and a fish story that they'll be telling for years to come. Number 13. Iceberg Tsunami. The Ilulissat Glacier in Greenland has proven that these frozen behemoths are not to be trifled with. In a stunning video that will make you question whether you're watching a disaster movie or a nature documentary, huge icebergs the size of skyscrapers flip over and collapse, creating a wave of terror that could give Godzilla a run for his money. These massive icebergs can be up to 3,000 feet tall. That's taller than the Empire State Building. But when they collapse and flip over, they create a wave of destruction that can reach up to 16 feet tall. But it's not just the immediate danger that's alarming. The Ilulissat ice fjord drains a whopping 6.5% of the Greenland ice sheet and produces around 10% of all Greenland icebergs. That's a lot of ice. And if it keeps melting at the current rate, we'll all be surfing to work soon enough. The only thing scarier than this iceberg tsunami is the fact that the Greenland ice sheet has lost a mind-boggling 3.8 trillion tons of ice between 1992 and 2018, adding 11 millimeters to sea level rise. That's enough to make even the bravest of us break out in a cold sweat. Number 12. Sharks stuck on boat. Now we've got a jaw-dropping tale of a massive mako shark that took a leap of faith, or rather, a leap onto a fishing boat. Captured on video, this wild scene shows the flailing shark lodged between the guard railing of Captain Don Law's fishing boat off the coast of Long Island, New York. As the crew tries to free the shark, it violently thrashes about, causing blood to spill from its mouth. It's a race against time to save the creature, but fear not, these sailors were ready for the challenge. With quick thinking, they managed to tie a rope around the base of the shark's fin and hook its head to keep it facing towards the ocean and away from their faces. Just when you thought this couldn't get any more intense, the video cuts to the crew squeezing the shark's dorsal fin through the railing, lowering it back into the water with the rope. Captain Law, who runs outlaw fishing charters out of Hampton Bay, is no stranger to the ocean's predators. In fact, he regularly posts pictures of his shark-catching excursions. But for this lucky mako shark, it was its chance to escape the clutches of a fisherman's hook and make a splash back into the wild. Number 11. Giant waves slams the ferry boat. This harrowing footage was captured on a ferry in Hamburg, Germany, showing just how terrifying it can be when Mother Nature decides to unleash her fury. As Storm Dudley raged on, passengers were tossed around like rag dolls by massive ocean swirls. But the real shocker came when a monstrous wave smashed through the front windows of the boat, demolishing everything in its path and sending terrified passengers running for their lives. And it wasn't just this one ferry that got hit hard. Storm Yelenia wreaked havoc across northern Germany on February 17, 2022, with winds reaching speeds of up to 94 miles per hour. It's like a tornado on steroids. This storm also destroyed a drive-in test center and forced schools in the country's south to close. And to top it all off, the Elbe River in Hamburg rose a staggering 2 meters higher than usual. So let this be a lesson to all you thrill-seekers out there. When the storm clouds gather and the winds start to howl, it's probably best to stay on dry land. Number 10. Discovery of giant stingray. A group of scientists have stumbled upon a real-life sea monster during an expedition in Cambodia. We're talking about a giant freshwater stingray that could bench press a small car. The freshwater stingray are endangered and are rarely seen in the wild, but these brave biologists managed to capture one alive. The stingray was accidentally caught by some local fishermen in a deep pool in the Mekong River, and thankfully, the scientists were on hand to help release it back into the wild. The stingray was a whopping 180 kilograms and spanned a whopping 4 meters. Zeb Hogan, a fish biologist at the University of Nevada, led the expedition, and he was thrilled with the discovery. According to him, this catch was significant because it confirms the existence of these big fish in the stretch of river. However, he also warned that the biodiversity of the area is under threat. The team used unmanned submersibles equipped with lights and cameras to study the deep pools in the area, and who knows what else they might discover. Number 9. Living dinosaurs. Now, we've got a Jurassic-sized catch for you. In a jaw-dropping moment that could put even the great white shark to shame, a Canadian fishing guide reeled in a massive sturgeon in 2022 that looks like it just stepped out of the Mesozoic era. Nicknamed the living dinosaur by some, the sturgeon species is known for its ancient origins that date back to the Jurassic period. And this particular specimen, caught by expert sturgeon guide Bisson in Canada's Fraser River, might have been around for over a century. But don't worry, this wasn't a case of the hunter becoming the hunted. Bisson and his pal Dan Lallier were quick to release the beast back into the wild after snapping a few selfies. With a scientific name like Accipenser transmontanus, which translates to fish on the other side of the mountains, it's no wonder these prehistoric creatures are causing a stir. And honestly, who needs a T-Rex or a Velociraptor when you've got a living dinosaur swimming around in your local river? Number 8. Sloth On Board. Picture this. You're cruising along the waterways of Costa Rica, minding your own business, and suddenly you come across a sloth just chilling out in the middle of a heavy boat traffic area. Now, we all know sloths aren't exactly known for their quick thinking, so you can imagine the little guy was feeling a bit disoriented. But fear not, for our hero Gail Stokes and her team were there to save the day. After spotting the sloth, they knew they had to act fast. They approached the little guy and offered him a ride, which he gladly accepted. And boy, did he get more than he bargained for. With the wind in his fur and the water rushing beneath him, this sloth experienced the ride of a lifetime. So here's to you, little sloth, for reminding us that it's okay to take life slow and steady, even in a world that's always in a rush. Number 7. Fast tuna fishing. Let's dive into the deep blue sea and explore the world of tuna fishing, but this time with a responsible twist. Say goodbye to those unsustainable fishing practices and hello to pole and line fishing. We're taking you on a trip to the Maldives, where the skilled tuna fishermen of Horizon Fisheries reside on the island of Mandu. These guys know how to catch some skipjack tuna in the Indian Ocean, and they do it in a traditional Maldivian fishing boat called a dhoni. They start their day by collecting live bait during the cover of night, and at the crack of dawn, they begin catching tuna, one by one, using the pole and line technique. It's a fishing method that's gentle on the environment and keeps other ocean creatures unharmed. By using pole and line fishing, the fishermen of Horizon Fisheries are doing their part to maintain healthy fish stocks. So the next time you're in the mood for some tuna, remember to ask for pole and line caught tuna. Number 6. Fishermen rescue bald eagle. In a video that's making waves on the internet, a bald eagle is seen in the clutches of a giant octopus. The nail-biting footage, shot in Vancouver, Canada in 2019, shows the poor eagle struggling to break free from the octopus's death grip in the water. The fisherman who captured the video heard the bird's cries for help and rushed to the scene to save the day. The octopus seemed to have a bone to pick with the bald eagle, possibly because the bird of prey had tried to attack it. At first, the fishermen were hesitant to intervene, fearing that the octopus might turn on them. But after seeing the eagle's desperate struggle, they decided to step in and help. Armed with a stick, they slowly peeled the octopus off the bird of prey, pulling both animals towards their boat. The rescue operation was not easy, as the octopus put up a fierce fight, trying to cling on to its prey. But the fishermen persisted and finally managed to free the eagle from its tight hold. As the video ends, the bald eagle is seen perched on the base of a tree, while the octopus is pushed back into the water. It's worth noting that bald eagles are a protected species in the United States, and their well-being is of utmost importance. Number 5. Whale lets tourists touch it. The world of tourism is an unpredictable one, and there's nothing quite like stumbling upon a breathtaking spectacle that you didn't even know existed. That's exactly what happened to a group of lucky tourists visiting Baja California in Mexico, who were graced with the presence of 2 gray whale calves and their mother. The 2 14-foot-long newborn whales were a sight to behold, and the tourists couldn't believe their luck when the calves swam up to their boat. But it wasn't just a brief visit. The inquisitive whales stayed for a while, allowing the tourists to stroke and touch them. It's not often you get to interact with creatures that can grow up to 50 feet long and weigh 40 tons, after all. The San Ignacio Lagoon, where the whales were spotted, is one of 4 in the area where gray whales come to mate, play, and socialize. Each year, around 200 gray whales make a 10,000-mile journey from the chilly waters of Alaska to the warmer coastal waters of Mexico, where they seek protection from pods of killer whales. It's not every day you get to touch a wild animal, but for these tourists, it was a moment they'll never forget. Number 4. Angry hippo chases the boat. A video has emerged showing a terrifying encounter between a motorboat and an angry hippopotamus. The footage captures the moment when a group of tourists on a speedboat spot a hippo lurking in the water just a few meters away from them. But little did they know that this giant beast was about to chase them down. As the boat speeds away, the hippo takes chase, leaping in and out of the water with the agility of a ninja. The tourists try to keep their cool, but you can see the fear in their eyes. And we don't blame them. Hippos are responsible for more human deaths in Africa than any other large mammal. Move over, lions, elephants, and rhinos. The hippo is the real killer here. These aggressive creatures are not to be trifled with. With their sharp teeth and territorial nature, they can be incredibly dangerous. According to reports, hippos kill an estimated 500 people each year in Africa. That's more than enough reason to give these creatures a wide berth and stay out of their way. So if you find yourself in the presence of a hippo, remember this video and keep your distance. Number 3. Ancient Mummified Mermaid. What do you get when you cross a monkey, a fish, and a whole lot of deception? A centuries-old mummified mermaid that turned out to be a creepy doll made of animal parts, that's what. This haunting hybrid, resembling a ning-yo from Japanese mythology, was supposedly discovered in a sealed wooden box in a temple in Japan, said to be caught in the Pacific Ocean centuries ago. People used to worship it, hoping it would help cure their ailments and give them immortality. But now we know that it was most likely a hoax created to fool gullible folks into believing in the powers of these mystical creatures. Researchers from the Kurashiki University of Science and the Arts got their hands on this 12-inch-long monstrosity and decided to use some high-tech methods to study it. They found out that the mermaid's torso was made mostly from cloth, paper, and cotton, held together by metal pins and painted with a paste made of sand and charcoal. The torso was covered in components stripped from other animals, like mammal hair and fish skin, while the claws were made from keratin. And get this, the lower half of the mermaid came from a croaker fish that makes a croaking sound with its swim bladder. Fishy enough? Who knows how many other mermaids are out there waiting to be uncovered and analyzed? But one thing's for sure, we won't be trusting any mythical creatures anytime soon. Number 2. Sea Unicorn. Do you believe in sea unicorns? Well, they exist, and they are called narwhals. These magical creatures have long, spiral tusks protruding from their heads and are known to be quite strange and beautiful. With a population of more than 80,000, these sea unicorns can weigh up to a whopping 4,200 pounds and grow up to 17 feet long. But here's the catch. The horn on their heads is actually an enlarged tooth with up to 10 million nerve endings inside. And some narwhals have up to 2 tusks, while others have none. The spiraled tusk can grow as long as 10 feet, making them a formidable weapon in the ocean world. Unlike some of their whale friends, narwhals like to hang out in the Arctic waters of Canada, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. They spend their winters for up to 5 months under the sea ice in the Baffin Bay-Davis Strait area, probably because they want to build up their stamina for the epic food hunt in the ice-free summer waters. Narwhals are picky eaters and feed on Greenland halibut, Arctic and polar cod, squid, and shrimp. They prefer to chow down on the ice floe edge, but who wouldn't want to enjoy a meal with a view? So if you want to see a sea unicorn, forget about horses with horns on their heads. Go for a swim in the Arctic waters and make some friends with the majestic narwhals. Number 1. Cargo ship breaks apart. This story is not for the faint of heart. A cargo ship named Arvin met a grisly end when it broke into 2 pieces and sank off the coast of Turkey's Black Sea during a storm, leaving a trail of destruction and tragedy in its wake. The incident, which occurred on January 30th, 2021, claimed the lives of 3 crew members, and the haunting video footage of the ship crashing over high waves before breaking apart is enough to send shivers down your spine. The crew can be heard making frantic mayday calls over the ship's radio, adding to the chilling atmosphere of the scene. Although rescue workers managed to save 6 of the 12 crew members, the loss of life is a heavy burden to bear. The surviving crew members were found in lifeboats, but the fate of their fellow sailors is a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk beneath the surface of the sea. The ship, which belonged to Ukrainian company Arvin Shipping Limited, was transporting cargo from Georgia to Bulgaria when it attempted to take refuge at Barton Port due to the treacherous weather conditions. But even with the Turkish Navy's frigate sent to assist the rescue effort, it was not enough to save everyone. The sea can be a cruel mistress, and the fate of the Arvin serves as a cautionary tale of the perils that come with sailing on its dark waters. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.